At the creation event, the explosive discharge of the cometary Venus, it was the planetary angels that shouted for joy and sang the creation song. They shouted and roared from heaven. Man on earth interpreted the sounds as human-like voices. Not only did mankind interpret these sounds as voices, it imputed meaning to them. For example, the sounds announced the names of God. The Tetragrammaton, in reality, was taken directly from the vocalic sounds descending upon the earth. Eya Asher Eya, translated as I am that I am, is a rendition of three vowels, E, A, E. The name became Eya. Of course, a name of God based upon the combination of vocalic sounds heard by ancient mankind is understandable at a basic level. The planets were gods, and the sounds they made became identified with them. They became their names. However, the reality is much more complicated than assuming that ancient mankind was unsophisticated and prone to mistaking planets for gods and sounds as the voices of those gods. The ancients interpreted the sounds not simply as the names of the planetary gods. The ancients understood them as heavenly discourse, including words, phrases, and sentences. In the midst of the thunderings and the noise of the trumpet at the mount, God gave Israel the 10 Commandments. So loud was his voice that the people were afraid and removed themselves from the vicinity of the mountain. The planetary sounds carried more than meaning. Emotions were also expressed. The song of the planets at the creation was one of joy. At the other end of the spectrum, the earth mourned at the wickedness among mankind, her children. To believe that the planets can intentionally communicate both meaning and emotion through sound assumes that they have the intelligence to do so, or that God can communicate through them as intermediaries. We do know that all the creations of God have intelligence and moral agency. Existence is defined by the presence of intelligence and the ability to act. It also presumes that even if planets and other creations can communicate, the intended recipient of a communication would be able to understand its meaning. There would have to be a means to differentiate between random sounds and intelligent expression. The natural inclination is to simply dismiss any notion that planets can intelligently communicate with mankind. The scriptures are simply symbolic or poetic hyperbole, but neither symbolism nor poetic hyperbole can fully explain the scriptural, or for that matter, the historical record. The concept of I, or self, was understood throughout the world as one of the meanings of the creation shout. The Hindus believe the shout to be, "It is I." The Hebrews understood the shout as "I am." Languages throughout the world use the sounds of the shout as the basis for their word for I. How does symbolism or poetic hyperbole explain the documented fact that the sounds of the creation shout were interpreted in exactly the same way throughout the ancient world? There certainly couldn't have been collaboration between the isles of the sea, such as Samoa and Hawaii, and the continent of Europe, such as Sweden and Italy. The Lord's statement that all intelligent beings, including planets, can act independently and feel joy is no way symbolic or poetic. It is a clear statement of metaphysical fact. If the planets can reason and feel, then why can they not express their reasoning and feelings? But we needn't rely solely on the negative argument to make the case that planets, like all living beings, can intelligently communicate. The scriptural and historical records are full of the notion that the planets have spoken to mankind. They have done so in the capacity of angels.